Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm taking a look at Generation Selects G2 Megatron. And this is a repaint of the Earthrise mold, which is a remold of the Siege mold. So this is a tank Megatron with a decent amount of history behind the mold, and a lot of nostalgia for me. I mean, first off, just first impact visual appearances. Love the color scheme. The green, the purple, the orange. This is so 90s neon. I love what you can do with the effect pieces on the barrel and on the sides. This feels in hand like a good solid tank in a way that the Siege mold didn't 100% do to me. What my personal connection to this toy is that Generation 2 Megatron was one of the first Transformers that I remember owning. It was big, he was mean, he was green, he was just an awesome machine that I really, really loved as a kid. So having an opportunity to have, a figure that references that design is really, really awesome. And, this, to me, I was surprised and impressed. This feels like a very solid improvement over the Siege mold, which I wasn't expecting. Here we can see Megatron next to Hero Megatron, which is the Siege mold. So some quick comparisons. They did earthify the mold, but they did some different design choices that I think helped with just the fit and finish. So for example, you can see on the front treads here, there are two tabs here that don't engage on the Siege mold. They do engage, they extend out that cover piece, that bit of armor on the Earthrise mold, and it does engage further up on his shoulder pauldron things, his back. I guess those aren't shoulder pauldrons for him. They're like his back treads, front treads in tank mode, the treads on his back in robot mode. But that helps keep things tight. In addition, on his treads, they connect to each other. His leg treads and his back treads connect on the sides at this location. Whereas here they're free-floating, which means that on the Siege Megatron mold, we could wiggle his hips and bring the treads, which there aren't really treads back here, bring the casters out of alignment. They're only really connected on, double universal hip joints, and then these tabs back here, as well as, up here on this location. Whereas here, the hip joints themselves feel more solid and tight. They lock in a place which keep the alignment of his hips in the proper place. They connect back here. This back plate piece essentially is another connection. And then up here on his tank mode, it just feels like a more solid design than the Siege one did. You can see here kind of this is rocking. This is solid. I still, don't get me wrong, I still like this mold, and I really love that we got it in this Hero Megatron color scheme that never became available. In fact, I really love my bright neon maniacal ruler color schemes. We can compare both these boys to Archforce Megatron. I just like having these purples and bright greens and crazy colors on my Megatron molds. That just makes me happy. If you want to see other tank Megatron comparisons, you can go back and watch my Hero Megatron video. I've got other tanks that I kind of showed them too, but I feel like there's no need to pad this video out with those, since these are essentially the same mold with some slight tweaks. Other than that, really just makes me happy. My only real complaints, they're the same ones I had with Hero Megatron, which is that we have 5mm ports on the sides. I really wanted one up top. Here's Siege Megatron's gun mode that came with, Sound Blaster, I think. I would have loved to be able to stick this gun on top of the tank mode. That would have been nice. We have, little effect ports everywhere. I don't have any complaints about them. I do wish that this back plate piece, I think it does a really good job for keeping the tank mode tight and together. I wish it extended down a bit. There was a little more curvature to kind of hide the robot crotch. And then I wish that these feet, maybe they could have turned 90 degrees and turned in or something. They can turn in, but if you could also rotate this to get this underneath this plate piece to hide things, I think that just would have been an extra finishing touch. Other than that, I mean, this is a great looking tank. I love that this spins, this turret, just like the Siege mold. I kind of wish it elevated a bit, but other than that, no complaints. I love that G2 Decepticon logo, that bright orange. It feels like a real update to Generation 2 Megatron in a way that makes me very, very happy. Now, we have seen the transformation for Megatron before, so I'm just going to fast forward through it now, and we will come back in robot mode. And here is Generation 2 Megatron from, oh, let's pop his head up, from Generation Selects, and he looks pretty great. In robot mode, I have more complaints about the visual choices and style than I did in tank mode. There are just some iconic G2 Megatron things that are missing, I feel. The big one is his boob plate. To me, that profile, like, he needs his tits out to here. Without that kind of angled front tank chest, I feel like he's missing a lot of what made G2 Megatron. I get that they couldn't do that with this mold, and I think this guy is perfectly happy with the spot on my shelves as is, but I do miss that piece. The other thing I miss is the tank cannon that sits on his shoulder. They gave us this, if you remember on the Siege Megatron, he had like a sword thing which transformed and was cool. For this Megatron, they gave us this tank turret extension, which has a sword. I guess it's supposed to be a spear, but the problem is that the 5mm port is over here. He can't really hold it as a spear. And then there is, again, no good spot up top to stick this thing. If I could stick this here, I would be, you know, perfectly happy. I have seen online, which I don't have a screwdriver small enough to do it, if you take off this screwdriver here, you can pop out the sword piece, and you're left with a tank piece with a peg that can tab into this location or somewhere, which I'm curious, I'll be trying soon. And then, you know, he comes with his G1 Megatron fusion cannon, which of course he does. He wasn't going to lose that in the Earthrise mold. That's fine. He does have this little plate piece here that can become like a little arm buckler if you want it to, or up here like a little shoulder buckler. You can stick it kind of wherever you want, sticking the spear right here. Those, you know, those accessories, like, they're just extra pieces. They don't bother me too much. I know some people have a little strong complaints about them, but I think he does look like G2 Megatron in a lot of ways that count. We're going to take a look at that head sculpt. Like, that is a very G2-ass head sculpt. I love the colors. I love that, you know, purple lavender eyebrow, the orange eyes. I think that looks awesome. He has all the same articulation as Siege Megatron. You know, obviously nothing new in terms of molding there. I will say that I think, at least, you know, to me, this color scheme works better than the G1 color scheme on Megatron. Something about this just oozes confidence and style and evil in a way that the G1 color scheme doesn't do a whole lot of. Let's go ahead and compare him to his other bright Megatron colors. So here is G2 Megatron next to the Siege mold, Siege Hero Megatron. And I guess transforming this guy again, one, you can notice kind of the paint scratches here. I think getting rid of those tabs on the side of the hips, I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal if this wasn't painted, but I think it was 100% the proper design choice. So comparing these two guys, what I did notice was the fit and finish again. This is a tight mold. The hips are tight. I said I wasn't going to go through articulation, but like, that's a very tight knee. Those are tight shoulders. Those are super tight elbows. If you're worried about how many times this mold has been used and the fit and finish, don't be. The G2 Megatron feels tighter than the Hero Megatron. It's really remarkable how good this guy feels. I do like, you know, that we've got two different head sculpts. Like, I like that I'm going to be able to display these guys as two different dimensional Megatrons on my shelves. They look very different, but, you know, clearly the same person in a way that makes me really happy. Here is Archforce Megatron. Again, just my only real complaints that I've already gone through are kind of these accessories aren't as cool as this one. But I love having my Mega Boys all lined up, ready to kick some Autobot butt. That just looks really, really awesome. And yeah, lined up like this, these guys are great and vibrant and exciting in a way that the G1 Megatron color scheme never really got to me just because I'm not a G1 guy. But that is a quick look at Generation Selects G2 Megatron, my highly recommended figure. I think You get them for the same price as retail Megatron. Pick this version up. If you've already got, you know, a G1 color scheme Megatron, this guy feels tight. He looks great. You know, maybe some mods can make him more G2-y, but I'm still waiting on a Masterpiece G2 Megatron to really fill that hole in my collection. This guy is just an awesome looking Megatron that really deserves a spot on your shelf. All right, that's it for today. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Bye!